The old belt on my south bend here is really oil soaked. It is limp. It is entirely possible that this is the original belt that was on the lathe, or that I put on the lathe back in 1965 when my father bought it. I don't know if I would recognize a glue joint that I had made at that time or not, but at any rate, your choice when replacing belts on a South Bend 9, you completely disassemble the headstock and the jack shaft, or you learn to glue up belts. I think learning to glue up belts is easier. Here's the material we need to put this together from good old McMaster car. Proper length of leather belting. I noticed that it comes with joints every few inches. Must be making smaller cows these days. And this is my old favorite. Pliabond, which used to be made by DuPont and now appears to be made by the Roscoe Company, and it is now VOC compliant, which means they've changed the formula. Someone recommended to me Skiving's Leathercraft cement. I forget where I got that from, but Fiebing''S, Leathercraft cement. You can surely Google it. Somebody said this was just the nuts for gluing up leather belts. I don't know which one I'm going to try, because it's kind of a one-way deal. Once you put glue on something, it messes it up for the next glue. So, on to skiving the ends, measuring the length of belt I need, and skiving the ends for a glue job. This is how a machine breaks the edges on a freshly cut piece of wood. A little bit of wood butchery. In the center. Counter bore for a flathead wood screw. 118 included is close enough to the 82 of a flathead. Just want to get it below the surface a little. Let's see, about how far below the surface. So, about there. Little tip, put a rare earth magnet on the front of your drill press head and use that to keep your chuck handy, but without a leash on it, which is always in the way. Thank you. Okay, what we're making here is a guide to glue up a skive joint and a leather belt, and we're just screwing one straight piece onto another straight piece. Come on. Using up my old straight slot wood screws. I don't think I've bought anything but Phillips heads for the past decade, but seems like when you want a particular size, it's always one of these old flatheads that's laying around somewhere. I got boxes of them. Come on, going straight. There you go. All right. Now, we just lay the two pieces of belt right alongside in there, lay another piece of wood on top, clamp it together. That'll make sure that it's evenly clamped and that the two sections of the belt are lined up with each other. Okay. Now, I am quite sure that nothing I'm going to do involving the replacement of the belt is going to require the use of the lathe, but just in case, the very last thing I will do before I glue the new belt on is to remove the old belt. Now, since this old belt is, well, you may know the phrase foobar. This belt is Osabar, oil-soaked and stretched out beyond all recognition. Because of that, the turnbuckle on the tension adjuster is jacked out almost to its extreme. So, to make the new belt, we are going to bring that in, I said, to its shortest position. We will make the new belt as short as we can to give ourselves as long a life as possible before we have to replace it. Well, we'll maybe give it a 1/4 inch or so. Alrighty, now we need to measure how long the new belt has to be. And the new belt should be 53.5 inches. Let's make it 54, just for a nice round number. 54 inches, remember that. And like I say, we are not going to cut the Look at how much this belt has stretched out, because I know I've made the original belt to a minimum length. That's how much this belt has stretched. Isn't this a beautiful space? It's my wood shop, and I hardly ever use it. I mostly prefer metalworking. I built this space to provide a working area for the people who were building my house. I also bought most of the woodworking machinery to assist in the building of my house. We did most of the millwork in this space. We created over 100 different molding profiles, and really did a lot of the fine detail work. But there's drum sander, planer, woodworking lathe, 5/4 shaper, belt disc sander, spindle shaper, several router tables, mortar serve, 2 band saws, drill press, chop saw, and what you didn't see was the 8-inch joiner. Someday I think I may move my metal shop out here, sell off about half this woodworking equipment. Okay. First thing you need for skiving a belt is a sharp chisel. Got a Washington stone and a Lee Valley sharpening jig. So, whoops. Paper towel. So, a little oil on the stone. Adjust the jig up and down the blade until the angle is exactly what you want. And then a few, really, not very many, strokes along the stone, holding that angle exactly perfect. And we're getting quite a good edge already. The chisel was not dull before I started, but it had been used once or twice. This is the last sharpening. And then, for the final edge, you loosen this up, you move it about 1/8 of an inch closer to the edge, tighten it back up, and you take one firm stroke. And that puts what they call a micro bevel on the edge. This edge is very thin, but right at the very end, for about the last 5 thousandths or so, it's a little bit steeper and a very fresh edge. And you never sharpen the flat side of a chisel, only the bevel edge. All right. Now, we measured 54 inches on the lathe for a shortest reasonable belt size. So we want to have a 4-inch overlap, 4-inch skive, although the factory skive is only 3 inches. And we want the skive to run in the same direction as this one, because you want to run them so that the taper runs off the pulley, not hits it. All right, so 4 inches plus our original 54. 58 inches, or thereabouts. All right. There's our mark. Let's see if our chisel is sharp. Set that nicely at right angles. I think it's sharp. Shouldn't lay it with the edge on the table. All right. On this one, on this splice, the skive runs from the hair side, the smooth side, to the flesh side. So we want to cut this end from the hair side. Let's get this held in place here so it won't be running away from me. Okay. Mark off 4 inches here. Straight line across. Okay. Now we begin skiving. Get quite shallow enough angle that way, so we'll have to shave it this way. Gorgeous. Sorry. You know, start on music. Okay. Put it on the camera. Start. Side the other, first. No, on the side, go easier. So you here, not these guys, but I sure. So anyway, so we'll make all fresh on that side, but I got to okay, we do. One of those won't be rubbing in. Hey, one more arms above. Okay. Alrighty. That just about takes care of the skiving. Back to the metal shop and let's get this belt glued up. Okay, the instructions say to prime porous surfaces and let them dry, and then put a coat on and let it get tacky before you actually fasten it together. So we want this to come over like that. So feed through. And I'm going to lay out the location of the belt here. Got our guide. So we are going to clamp the belt in place on the guide. Maybe I should have done the back one first. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to have a place to let it rest. Alright, so we put our splice about in the middle here. Clamp it in place. Put our other end lined up nicely. And clamp it from this end. Okay. Now, we need a little something to hold those apart. How about some of the stub ends of the now this stuff gets all over it everywhere. When you pull the brush out of the bottle, you get this stringy thread that wants to drag a little bit of glue onto undesired surfaces. Okay, just run the last glue up on here. Let those sit until tacky. This is a form of contact cement. That's still a little wet. Just a little bit longer. A little longer. All right, now we're going to take the wedge out here and we're going to roll it into place so that we don't get it doubled up anywhere. Okay. Now we put our piece of wood on here and clamp. Get it centered on the belt. Okay, now we let that dry overnight, and they say that the strength of the joint improves over the next week, but if it isn't strong enough to run by tomorrow, I'd be very, very surprised. Well, it's the moment of truth. Let's see what she does. Isn't that nice? No bang and slap from the clipper joint. A little lumpy. That'll smooth out. And at last, oh, tougher than I would have thought. Off goes the old belt. Let's try it on the other. $1270 RPM. Now I just have to swap out that old single-phase motor for a three-phase with a variable frequency drive and have infinitely variable speeds. Take the tension off the belt at night. It's good for the belt.